Pancakes are a breakfast classic around the world, but finding the ideal recipe can be very challenging. There are too many pancake recipes out there that claim to be the fluffiest and the ultimate pancake, but which one should you choose to really get the perfect breakfast classic? We tried 3 recipes in this video and have to say that most of them do not keep their promise. Stay tuned to find out which is the best.
We tested the 3 most watched pancakes recipes on YouTube. The contenders of this videos are Tasty with 14 million views, Matty Matheson with 6.7 million views, and Joshua Weissmann with 5.5 million views. Let's start with Tasty. The special thing about this recipe is that they use 1 stick of butter, which is very high and unusual for pancakes. They separate the egg white and egg yolk, but do not whip the egg white. The batter turns out very lumpy as you only fold in the flour instead of mixing it into the batter. The batter is very runny, so it immediately spreads in the pan and you end up with huge pancakes which are not very fluffy.
Reviewing Tasty's pancakes, at first glance they looked a bit slobby. They were greasy in my hands, they weren't fluffy at all but rather thin, almost like a crepe, but they did have a very nice color. Tasting them, I found that they were very buttery and heavy, but they were juicy and they had a neutral taste. So for the rating, for the fluffiness they get a 2 out of 10. For the juiciness they get an 8 out of 10, and taste-wise they get a 5 out of 10.
Now let's move on to Matty Matheson's recipe. The special feature of this recipe is that Matty uses a lot of eggs. He separates the egg white and egg yolk, and similar to Tasty's recipe, the batter turns out very lumpy. He also doesn't mix in the flour but just folds it in. In addition, he lets the finished batter settle in the fridge for a few minutes.
Reviewing Matty Matheson's pancakes, they looked also very thin but fluffier than Tasty's. The overall look was okay. Taste-wise they were very eggy, they weren't dry at all either, and overall they had a very good taste. So rating them, for the fluffiness they get a 3 out of 10, juiciness they get a 7 out of 10, and for the taste rating they get an 8 out of 10.
Next up are Joshua's pancakes. The unique features in his recipe is that he uses a lot of baking powder. This and its lower liquid content makes the batter less runny than the other 2. Joshua mixes in the flour and gives the entire batter a good mix. So this turns out in a very smooth mixture.
Reviewing Joshua's pancakes, these look the best and fluffiest of all 3. However, when they were baked they didn't get the nice golden crust on the outside like the other 2 did. Tasting them, they had a very pleasant sweetness to them, but on the other hand they were very dry. Do keep in mind that if you put a lot of syrup on it you won't notice this. And these pancakes were the fluffiest of all 3, they were very fluffy. Rating Joshua's pancakes, for the fluffiness they get an 8 out of 10, for the juiciness they get a 2 out of 10, and for the taste rating they get a 7 out of 10.
This makes Matty Matheson's pancake recipe our winner. It scores with the best taste and good juiciness. But if you're only looking for fluffiness because you will drench your pancakes in syrup anyways, then Joshua's recipe is the one for you. Tasty's recipe was disappointing compared to the other 2, even though it has the most clicks. Wouldn't it be amazing to have one pancake recipe that combines the flavor and juiciness of Matty's and the fluffiness of Joshua's recipe? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to see our combination of their recipes in our next video soon.